So AI isn't coming for your job, but the developer who's sitting next to you who knows how to use it, well, they absolutely are. So Microsoft just tested over 4,000 developers and found something very interesting. Those using AI tools like Cursor or Claude Code are 26% more productive than those who don't. But here's the kicker. Junior developers are actually seeing up to 40% productivity gains, while senior developers are more at 16. So it averages out across the Microsoft survey to 26%. Now, one engineer has worked and has explained a lot about how he's doing this. And one of the big reasons why we're seeing this is while you're debating whether AI will replace programmers, you're missing out on the fact that other programmers are already using AI and they're becoming more and more productive, and those might be the ones to replace you. Let's dive into this today. Welcome to Startup Hack. I'm Spencer, and here at Startup Hack, we train software developers and build custom software solutions for companies. With a decade of executive leadership as a fractional CTO and 25 years in software development, I've mastered transforming tech teams and products. So the AI replacement debate has everyone focused on the wrong threat. It's not AI versus human. It's AI-powered humans versus traditional humans. The gap is widening fast, and being on the wrong side of this divide could end your career faster than any robot ever could. Now, Microsoft research involved over 4,000 developers shows those using coding tools with AI achieved a 26% increase in productivity across all experience levels. So this is as they average those experience levels across everybody, right? Now, junior developers consistently see the largest productivity gains in AI tools, and they increased from 21% to 40% in coding tasks, whereas senior developers saw more of a modest gain from between 7% and 16%, often because they're more resistant to changing, but also just because they ultimately aren't finding that it's going to be that big of a jump. So companies are starting to notice these productivity differences and making hiring decisions based on how proficient you are with AI tools. Not because they think that it's going to replace you, but because they always want an employee who's going to be more efficient. So the developer who embraces AI assistants are completing tasks faster. Now, you also need to make sure you're checking bugs and those kind of things. And then we're going to see a lot more on this as we come in more in the future. But it's not just about writing code faster. It's about freeing up mental energy for architecture, problem solving, and creative solutions, because we know as a developer, writing code is not the only thing. So where this portion of your job may get more efficient, it should free you up for bigger things. Now, a clear split is emerging between developers who effectively use AI tools and those who are resisting them or poorly implementing them. So an AI fluent developer are getting promoted faster. Maybe it's because of the hype. I don't know. We don't really know, but we're seeing a lot more of this, but partly because people like developers who are trying to gain efficiencies. And that's been true for as long as I've been a software developer. Companies who are quietly tracking which developers are using AI tools effectively and which ones are struggling to keep up. So job interviews are starting to include AI tool assessments, not just coding challenges, but how well a candidate can you work with AI. The resistance to AI tools is creating a generational gap in the workforce that mirrors the early days of version control and automated testing adoption. So within 2 years, not knowing how to effectively work with AI tools will be as career limiting as not knowing how to use Git or how to write unit tests. Now, Mark Summerfield at Hostology went from managing a lot of people, and there's an interesting report here. Let me get the report pulled up here. So I originally found this article, and he started off with how I replaced a team of 15 with a single engineer. And of course, immediately, I was about to not even click on it, but then he says, you need more than just a vibe, right? So he's already right off the bat saying, hey, look, now this isn't an AI hype fantasy piece, right? So I thought this was a really interesting part because he actually breaks down on exactly how they went through and where it had to start. So he says that at Hostology in 2023, they were going to grow, but then the company came into some problems. So a few weeks after he started, the wheels came off. And so they had to raise funds, and they went through and they basically canned a ton of different people, right? And he went from a big team down from 15 people down to a very small team. So then he talked about what he had to do to get to efficiencies really quick. So he said, look, he had bloated repositories, so he had to start with pulling some of these out. They had tightly coupled services. They had to pull some of those down. There was poor coding standards, so he had to get rid of some of that. The lack of automated testing, lack of observability and monitoring, so he had to get all this set up, right? And so as he came down to all of this, he started doing all this, and then he said, hey, then there's AI. He was like, this is even more true if you're using AI. So that's the funny thing about it right off the bat and this is what I've been trying to say for a long time. If you want to use AI, it's not going to help you solve bad engineering practices. So if you have all of these bad engineering practices that he's talking about here, you're going to be in more trouble if you try to add AI to it. Because what he says here, I couldn't understate more. AI doesn't help with technical support. It doesn't have the business context, the customer context, or the technical context to identify most bugs, nor can it interact with your platform to investigate and identify a problem in the way that a human can. So like, I totally agree with that right there. So he says for an AI-enabled team, the opportunity cost of a bug is higher. Let me highlight that here. For the AI-enabled team, the opportunity cost of a bug is even higher. So he says basically you've got to reduce bugs right from the get-go. And so he continues to go through and talk about all of this. He says, but now I have fewer resources. I'm far more reluctant to hire. What's changing my tone? So once he trimmed down, he's actually saying he doesn't necessarily need as many developers because he just found they were actually bloated and causing bad practices in general. Right now, again, I'm not saying we shouldn't be hiring here, but he says he comes down to really what the main point is. Our productivity statistics bear this out. We transitioned from 2 devs to 1 in February. In Q1, we resolved this. Q2, we did this because he's just using really base engineering practices. So he says, I think an important shift that more businesses like ours will likely be making, VC funding will become more of a minority path. I agree with this. So I've always been a fan of this. I like to use software development to solve problems, not just bloat teams, right? Vibe coding may be a meme, but there's a real value in AI tools. And if you can combine them with the right level of strategic planning and technical skills, the results can be great. Again, not that it's going to replace any developers, because this has got to come back to some core engineering practices, right? You've really got to make sure that you're building and that the future of software development is some smaller, more efficient teams that can leverage AI, but the developers are not going away, and it's going to come right back to the same AI cleanup. So if you don't do that cleanup in the first place, you're going to be, a huge problem. Now, the backlash against vibe coding reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of how successful developers can actually use AI. The problem is vibe coding has given such a bad taste to most people that they have started to dismiss AI tools altogether. That's a terrible idea. I get accused by a lot of people on here of being anti-AI. I'm not. I'm an AI realist. I want to be able to see companies be successful with AI. That means they're going to have to use AI wisely. Developers who succeed with AI still understand system architecture, debugging and security principles, and design patterns. AI can just make them a little bit faster. Like I said in the very opening of this, 26% faster. If I told you there was something that made you 26% faster at anything, you would want it, right? So the sweet spot is using AI for boilerplate, routine tasks, and initial implementations while applying human expertise for optimizations, integrations, and problem solving. Companies that tried to replace developers with prompt engineers learned this lesson the hard way when their systems fall apart under real-world pressures. So I really liked this tweet, this X post, right, from Kevin Naughton Jr. If you don't follow Kevin, he's hilarious. So shout out to Kevin here. I don't know him personally, but I follow him and he's really funny. Every software engineer should be required to pass some kind of litmus test for coding before being allowed to use LLMs for development. I really like this because those out there who are using it for vibe coding, thinking that they're going to implement the next most amazing thing, just really crack me up. I'm a huge fan of developers using LLM tools, right? I'm not a terribly large fan of non-technical people using LLM. It's great if you want to do some prototyping and stuff with it. If you think you're going to write the next Google with it, good luck. Google engineers, meta developers, and other top-tier professionals are openly discussing how AI tools can help them focus on harder problems. So the shift from AI is cheating to AI is essential is happening faster than a lot of people in the development community want to predict. Now, AI is essential because it becomes like the Iron Man suit. I love Andrei Karpathy's analogy to this, right? We're not talking about AI robots that don't require the humans. We're talking about the Iron Man suit that it takes the human inside of it and makes them spectacular. So the conversation has moved from should we use AI to how do we use AI most effectively? And that is what we need to do. How should developers be using it? Traditional coding interviews are becoming less predictive of job performance when AI can help with syntax and basic algorithm problems. That's why when I do a lot of my own interviewing, I'm looking for concepts rather than just blank syntax approvals, right? The ability to teach and mentor AI-assisted developers is becoming a premium skill for senior roles. Now, junior developers have fewer preconceived notions about the right way to code, making them more open to AI-assisted workflows. The traditional apprenticeship model is breaking down a little bit because juniors with an AI assistant can get to contributing meaningful to projects much faster. Let me restate that. A junior who knows good concepts and can write code and can get in and implement can excel much faster if they're learning how to use AI tools correctly. So you got to use it as a help, not as a crutch, right? Companies are finding that AI trained junior developers can handle tasks that previously required a mid-level or senior level developer. The learning curve is accelerating. Juniors are absorbing patterns, best practices, and domain knowledge through AI interactions. Now, if you start using it as a crutch, that's when you get in trouble and your mind actually gets worse. Senior developers who don't adapt and are finding themselves managed by junior developers who understand both traditional development and AI integration. Now, if your company has systems that aren't connected, reach out to us because here at Startup Hack, we love to help companies come in and connect their systems to improve maximum efficiency. We like to help you improve ROI on your projects. Now, developers who refuse to learn AI tools are unknowingly pricing themselves out of the market by requiring more time for the same output. Project estimates from AI resistance teams are becoming uncompetitive compared to AI fluent teams who can deliver faster without sacrificing quality. Career progression gap is widening. This has always been true in technology that you have to continue to learn. So you don't want to be left behind. You want to become AI savvy developers. That doesn't mean it's going to replace you. It means it's going to become the Iron Man suit. Success with AI tools requires shifting from I must write every line of code to I need to solve this problem efficiently. The best AI-assisted developers think of themselves as system architects who happen to code rather than coders who architect systems. So the most successful developers treat AI like any other tool in their toolkit, powerful when used appropriately, counterproductive when misapplied. So teams where everyone uses AI tools develop shared vocabularies, workflow, and best practices that create compound productivity gains, right? AI fluent teams can onboard new developers faster because learning resources and code generation speed up the ramp-up process. So the social proof effect is strong. When high-performing team members openly use AI tools, others quickly follow suit. So the end game isn't humans versus AI or AI replacing human. It's AI augmented humans becoming the new baseline for professional competence. Developers who master AI collaboration will define the next decade of software development standards and best practices. The most innovative companies are already building their technology strategies around AI-assisted developers. And that's what's going to continue to accelerate them, right? Traditional software development education is rapidly becoming outdated without AI integration components. So if you're not learning AI at the tail end of something, you're missing out on something. Developers who thrive will be those who view AI as a force multiplier, not as a replacement. Now, as always, if you need help with your systems, reach out to us because here at Startup Hack, our specialty is connecting systems to help your company work like a well-oiled machine. So check out startuphack.com/Spencer and here's some great information about our services.
Hi, my name is Spencer Thomason, and I'm a fractional CTO. With over a decade of executive leadership and a solid 25 years in software development, I've mastered the art of transforming technology teams and products. So what is a fractional CTO? This is where you can contract someone like myself to come into your organization and get the benefits of a seasoned CTO without having to employ me full time. In today's fast-paced world, efficiency, security, and product scaling aren't just goals, they're necessities. My passion is building impactful products and enhancing organizational efficiencies through technology. From startups to small businesses, my approach leverages lean methodologies to not just meet but exceed your strategic goals. Whether it's through executive mentoring, cloud system architecture, or launching a minimum viable product swiftly, my aim is to make a significant impact right from the start. Recognized in the Arizona startup ecosystem, my journey has been about creating value and fostering innovation. I have led technology for companies like GoDaddy, SRP, and Wells Fargo and turned challenges into milestones. I've taken this learning and launched 7 of my own brands, and now I want to help you. So if you're looking for a fractional CTO who brings a wealth of experience, strategic vision, and a proven track record, let's connect. Together we can build technology that not only drives your business forward, but also makes a difference. Technology leadership redefined to fit your needs. So reach out today.